everyone. I'm very sorry for the slight delay, and thank you very much for joining us today for our webinar on game advertising for Greece and Central Eastern Europe. I'm Irini Saha. I am the founder of Across Media, and I'm very excited to discuss the pivotal role that game ads play in our ever-evolving online advertising landscape. As we know, game advertising is a rapidly growing channel that allows brands to engage globally with diverse audiences in very innovative and meaningful ways. At Across Media 241, we focus very much on effective ad solutions beyond Google and Meta, and we always want to ensure maximum return on investment for all brands and advertisers while creating meaningful and non-intrusive experience for users. Our collaboration with ION is vital as we strive to execute successful campaigns, continuing our great executions with our Greek clients and expanding our long experience with the Central Eastern European clients. I do believe that together we can harness the potential of game ads and drive and maximize brand awareness and engagement for all audiences. I'm very pleased and glad to welcome Yoon Yip, the Chief Commercial Officer at ION, and Yoon will be with us to present us in details on how brands can active and can achieve a maximum results in the online environment, but with zero disruption, using the very promising game environment. So let me welcome Yoon. Yoon, welcome. The floor is yours. Yoon, will you be with us? Is there any technical issue? Because Yoon is in Saudi Arabia. It's very close to the time zone, but not in the same area with us. So Yoon? No, I don't need to leave the stage. I'm waiting for you. We'll be both on stage, Yoon. So come on. If there is a technical issue, then our sales and strategies director will start her presentation.
No, I'm here now. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. So, I'm very glad. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me share my screen in the meantime, and apologies for that little slight hiccup there. Irini, thank you very much for the introduction, and also to the people who are on this call. Thank you very much for joining the call. So my name is Yoon. I'm from ION. We are the global game technology business, the only one in the world that has actually been able to unify all the different gaming formats and environments. And I'll run through a little bit more around why gaming, but also why ION with Across Media. So the rise of gaming, we all hear about gaming. And one of the reasons why that is the case comes down to the audience side of it, right? I'm not going to go on too much about all of the numbers in specifics, because these are numbers that can also be shared with you. One of the key things to note, though, is whether you are in Greece or whether you are in one of the countries in Central Eastern Europe, the main thing to really note is the sheer scale of gamers as part of the population. One of the things to note is that whether it's Greece or whether it's Hungary or Poland, as an example, there is anywhere between 55 to 75% of the audience being gamers. It's a relatively even male-female split, but also mobile is one of the key devices that people use when they game. Another interesting fact as well is that gamers just love to game. So even if they use PC or tablet or console, they probably will use another device as well. Statistics show that about 50% of people cross-platform play. So if you have any questions as well, there will be a Q&A section at the end of this where you can ask a little bit more. So apart from the audience, why does it really matter? There's three key pillars that we actually focus on: audience, attention, as well as impact. From an audience standpoint, I've just touched on that, but from an attention level, I challenge you to actually try to get or distract someone while they are in gameplay. So whether it is someone who is playing on their PC and playing Minecraft, or whether it is a mom trying to play Candy Crush, the attention is significantly higher. And I will have a little bit more stats as well as case study to run you through as well. And the last one is that of impact. We are very proud to be a technology as well as the leader of measuring what the outcome can actually be for gaming. What is the incremental results that you will actually have as a result of including gaming in what you do? Could be purchase intent, could be engagement, could be recall. But if there are three words that I hope you will walk away with today in terms of why gaming, it's all about audience, attention, as well as impact. We also call gaming the zero distraction digital channel, purely because of what I mentioned earlier. It doesn't matter what screen it is. The level of attention is second to none. But in most cases as well, what you will tend to find is that gaming ad units tend to appear when it is in full screen, or you are the only ad within the actual screen itself. So again, we are very proud to be that technology to have simplified brand safe environments across the whole gaming ecosystem. You may have worked with other gaming publishers or partners before. So maybe one of the questions that you may have is, why Ion? We like to think of ourselves as being a leader in unifying all of these different partners as well. So I wouldn't necessarily call these people our competitors. I would think of them as also environments that we can put you in. So as an example, Ion can give you access into influencers, including Twitch, YouTube Gaming, and Kick. We are also integrated with partners like Anzu and Bidstack for everything in-game. We also work with different app publishers and have direct server-to-server integration or SDK integrated onto their app. Top apps, the likes of Angry Birds, as well as 8-Ball Pool, they're all part of our network. So I would actually see us as an enabler of all of the partners that, or most of the partners that you already may be working with, and added on to that, the ability to plan, buy, measure, as well as help build creative, all within the one simple platform. And this is how we simplify it. And I think one of the really important things is that you have the flexibility to work with us on a number of levels. So through Across, as an example, you could look to have Across run a full managed service campaign for you. So they can help alongside us in terms of helping you with the right proposal, as well as the right activation and reporting, an end-to-end service level. Alternatively, you may also think about wanting to run just premium packages or curated environments for rewarded videos on your DV360 seat, of which that is also something that we can facilitate with Across for you as well. And We spoke a little bit about who we can actually work with and our partners. These are just a really good example in terms of the partners on the left, just about the publishers and partners of where the supplies are, but we're also well experienced from an agency and brand perspective as well. On top of that, from a programmatic sense, the various platforms that we work with from a supply and demand side of things at the bottom left corner. And then on the right, just the best in class partners that we work with. So I am the chair of the IAB Australia for the gaming group. And we align ourselves really closely with IAB because of the industry best standards. But we also work with well-reputed best-in-class technology partners like Amplified Intelligence, Cint, Pixelate, and more. Okay, so let's start with your audience. So sometimes people are a little bit surprised when they hear about the number of gamers there are. And I think that's because if you look at the various personas of the modern player, a lot of them don't really resonate as a gamer. So as an example, the mum on the bus who has some downtime to play Candy Crush or Wordle, they won't consider themselves as a gamer. But in reality, they really are. Then you may also have the executive player who may be going in between different cities on a short flight. They possibly don't think of themselves as a gamer or a player as well. But here are just a few examples in terms of why we have underestimated, just in terms of how inclusive and expansive the gaming population really is. And to that end, we have a very easy solution with Across to anything about targeting gamers. So you can target gamers at a contextual or a demo level. As an example, you may actually want to target women 25 to 54 for a grocery, for a FMCG or a CPG brand. And based on that, what our team can do is run insights into the types of games as well as the genre of games that they would play. We will then respond with Across in terms of the types of tailored, curated packages that would sit within that particular audience gaming habits. We can also look at other ways of building out packages for you. They could also be based around AAA rated games with game mods apps, or even most recently, if you are looking at people under the age of 16 or 13, there's also the possibility of going into Roblox. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you have an audience and you want to try out gaming, there are different ways in which we can curate packages as well as proposals for you. And that could be at a managed service or even at a programmatic level. Now, I hope I have had some of your attention, if not all. But if not, I would actually ask about how that may not be the case when it comes to a media consumption POV. Gaming has overtaken TV and social. In particular, what I mean by that would be from an attention standpoint. But that really shouldn't be a surprise. We know, especially for the younger audience, there is an 80% decline in terms of viewership. But also, when it comes to social, there is a little bit of ad fatigue, but also in terms of the scrolling behavior, it has really made a few marketers as well as agencies that we speak with question how they can actually increase their marketing outcomes in the current world. So the solution. This is a study that was actually done with Amplified Intelligence, a technology company that has been that has actually started as their purpose to measure attention of ads. So this particular study was a video campaign that ran across display, social, as well as gaming. What you will find is that gaming is the blue line. The level of attention is relatively stable and doesn't really fluctuate for the span of 15 seconds. Whereas you will see that social drops off significantly with the yellow line about 3 seconds in. That is explained by the scrolling behavior. And then you have what is at the bottom, which is that of general web display. So in short, for this particular video campaign, gaming has 10x the active attention of general web and 2x that of social. Here is another example that we ran not too long ago for L'Oreal. What is really interesting about it was that for this specific campaign that ran around the game display, as well as around the game rewarded video, when we actually look at that against industry benchmarks, what we actually achieved was 4 times the active attention of display, as well as 7 times the active attention of video. So just some proof points in terms of the attention that is driven through gaming versus other digital channels. So attention is all good, but what does that really mean for your business outcomes? And business outcomes could really mean different things for you. That could be in terms of uplift from a marketing perspective, such as that of brand awareness. That could also be helping you understand your consumers a little bit better. So when we actually work with you and any of the brands that you work on, understanding your KPI will always allow us to help bring about different reporting as well as measurement to ensure that your outcomes are being met. So to that end, we work with attention, with amplified intelligence for attention, and we work with SINT for brand lift studies. So brand lift study is something that we have found to be a very key component of what our brands as well as agencies in some parts of the world rely on. They have the choice of 5 questions out of 9 to understand. So there could be questions that are related to brand attributes, purchase intent, brand consideration of a particular brand. What we could also then measure is incrementality against your other digital channel as well. The great thing about running a brand lift study too is also the understanding of how different segments have actually reacted to your ad as well as your campaign. Similarly, that of the creative messaging as well. Something that is a little bit different is brand lift for Roblox. We are also the first in market and globally to be able to have a custom Roblox brand lift study when you do an avatar sponsorship. The important thing about this specific campaign is also for the brand to understand that when they actually do advertise on Roblox for this specific audience and this campaign, as an example, there was an increase of a 57% in purchase intent. And I think this just goes to show the efficacy of in-game advertising within an immersive environment. Apart from measuring the impact and outcomes, the other thing that we can also do from an impact standpoint is also give agencies as well as brands access to our IONS Creative Hub. So what you see here are just a few examples of what we've done for clients across all of the different categories that we've worked on. So we have an inbuilt rich media builder that enables our in-house designers to actually build these amazing mobile creatives. So here are some examples, but if you actually have something that's a bit more tactical, just give across the KPIs and objectives, and we can also make recommendations around the type of rich media you would like to do. As an example, with retail season coming up, you may even, you can brief us in on that. And to that end, we may look to mock up something for a flash sale for you, or even have different products that you may be launching across a carousel example. So just some examples here to help trigger some imagination for what can be done for different occasions. So coming towards the end of this presentation, I just spoke a little bit about the retail season. So we did say that we can drive some really measurable outcomes in great premium environments. But what does that look like if I am to make this practical for the Christmas as well as gifting season? One of the things that we always want to do is show a bit of insights as well as consideration. So before I go into what can be done, one of the things that we know is that 47% of consumers show more interest in holidays than previous years, which is a plus for us. But the other thing too is we know, as an example, that mobile devices are key because people are out and about more. But more importantly, people are now really comfortable with purchasing as well as searching for information on their mobile phones. So we've listed some key gifting products that we have seen come through our platform in the last year, but also through conversations with the other parts of the world. So we're dropping this here to help inspire some ideas. I'm not going to run into this too much, but I think a few ideas here would be around leveraging some of the more innovative digital channels that we have. And that could be on mobile through the high impact creative that we have, or potentially even looking into a combination of a few different examples here. And here are some brands that we work with as well, from a brand perspective that you may know of, just in terms of the different top gifts that we have mentioned. Now, here are some creative examples, and I'm right on time, so I've got a few minutes to run these through with you. So we work a lot with Lego across the globe, and here are just some examples in terms of what they have done with us. Lego wants to continue to build brand relevance for the younger audience. They know that the younger audience aren't watching TV. We have already seen that stat there. So their way of doing this is through having billboards within the game itself. It's a really smart way of extending their out of home campaign, because what this really is a very similar out of home execution that's taken from the physical world into the digital world. Lenovo is one of our key technology brands that we work with in the APAC region. They are actually one of the most sophisticated clients that we have worked with. They have worked full funnel gaming with us before, but they've also been able to see the results as well as the business outcomes that's driven through brand lift studies. They have worked from all of the different areas of in-game, around the game, as well as away from the game. And what you actually do see here is an around the game environment. Probably good to note too, as we're running out of time, is that there are different objectives that we align to the different environments of gaming. So as an example, what you saw with Lego earlier on, that's in-game, and that is a brand awareness, a KPI. Whereas for around the game, or what you guys may sometimes be more familiar with, like an interstitial or a rewarded video, that has a role of driving engagement as well as action, such as this example here. Here is an example that we've done for Philips. Philips has actually been quite an active advertiser from the region that I am in now, the Middle East, and they want to drive a lot of engagement as well as a call to action. So to that end, what they tend to run is around the game, but also because the population here are very, very heavy mobile users as well. Samsung is also in a very similar position as well, where for them, people are already well familiar with their brand. So we tend to get leveraged quite a bit for their product strategy to help people understand and drive a little bit of call to action when there are product launches. IKEA is another one that wanted, in this particular example, showcase their summer collection. And again, very much you will see on the creative visit now. So again, we have gone with the around the game execution here. What you will tend to find is that because we do work with premium publishers only, the viewability as well as the click-through rate that you will see on screen tends to be very much above industry average, anywhere between 20% to 40%. Levi's, a very huge retail brand that everyone knows about. And for them, they wanted to showcase this specific creative. So it was a very simple yet effective way of sharing the ads with, or sharing this particular creative with people in market. One of the key challenges that they have is building the relationship as well as building the brand with the younger audience. And so they have leveraged around the game rewarded videos to help drive not just completed views, but also that relationship with the audience. There's just 2 more slides. Puma, they really have tried to try out a few different environments. This in particular is that of in-game, but for them, they really wanted to get the gaming audience. So what they did was a digital out-of-home experience through in-game. Then they tried to get call to action, engagement, as well as click-through around the game, and then hardcore gamers through game mods, which is a very effective way to get AAA rated game titles onto a plan. A few other examples here that I've got, and I think what I might actually do here is to show one of our influencer examples. So this is away from the game. Away from the game from an IAB standpoint just means content about a game and you're not really gaming anymore. But what we love about the influencer streaming capability we have is that all of your ads will come with a live read. The advocacy from an influencer is super powerful. So something to consider about as well. But also away from the game does also include what you may have done before, which is that of just top gaming websites. And I think this is probably the last slide here. So in summary, Across works with ION because we allow markets in Europe to actually have a unique way of speaking with gamers. But more importantly, we have simplified games advertising to allow for in-game, around the game, and away from the game to be planned, bought, measured, to have creative, all within the one source. You don't have to go to all of the different partners now to have 6 different plans for one strategy for an audience. You can just work with Across and ION on this now. So I think that sums up everything, and I'll stop sharing screen. And leave the stage.
June, thank you. Thank you so much for this exciting presentation. That was awesome.
No problem. And I should leave the stage now, shouldn't I?
Yeah, you can go. We'll meet again in a while for Q&As. Audience here is very excited. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Georgia. Let me share my screen, because today we will see together for the next few minutes the types of gaming campaigns we have conducted for Greek advertisers and explore our unique gaming opportunities. So our table of content for the next few minutes, for the next 5-6 minutes, is in-game campaigns for banner, video, audio formats around the game campaigns, and a brief mention to results and winning tactics. So let's start. First of all, the in-game inventory with natively embedded display formats during the gaming experience. That said, let's see some very impressive examples of the Greek executed campaigns one by one. So enjoy here the Vikos Cola in-game banner campaign taking place during a football game with a strong branding experience around the field. So essentially, these banners offer a tremendous effectiveness in brand awareness with their dominant and non-intrusive ad positions during the game sessions. Also, a telco campaign from Cosmote in a simulation mobile game. Please notice how the banners are natively blended with the gameplay environment, maintaining the immersive experience for players while delivering the brand's message without interruption. Same here, an in-game banner campaign from Feel Good for the Smile 2 movie launch. Goodies Burger House with a teeny combo offer campaign in a racing motorcycle simulator game app. A quick comment here is that all these display formats are IAEB compatible. So we talk about standard sizes like medium rectangle, like billboards, like leaderboards, and so on. Here we have Unilever Axe Fine Fragrance Collection taking place in a sports mobile game app. And for the end, we also launched an in-game banner campaign for Alpha Mega hypermarkets targeting Cyprus in the current year 2024. Number 2 of our agenda, what do in-game video campaigns actually look like? So let's see. These ads are seamlessly integrated into the gaming environment, offering high quality, eye-catching visuals that capture the player's attention. Let's see now some very exciting examples. Uber in-game video campaign featured in a sports mobile game app. Notice here how the video blends natively during gamers playing the game. And also, Aqua Carpatica flavors. This campaign, also an in-game video campaign with a native video experience inside a hyper-casual game. So what we have here, we have in-game video campaigns delivering a total eye-catching video experience, engaging players directly with ad content, but without disrupting gameplay. Number 3 of our agenda, let's see in-game audio. Let's move forward and see and enjoy the impact of sound combined with the power of visuals. In-game audio campaigns, like this one from Samsung Galaxy S24, are immersive, strategically placed sound advertisements that seamlessly integrate into the gaming experience. Let's listen and see now.
Με το νέο Galaxy S24 Ultra και τον επεξεργαστή Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 έχεις πάντα τη νίκη με το μέρος σου. Εκπληκτική ισχύς χάρη στην ταχύτερη επεξεργασία. Ρεαλιστικές σκιές και αντανακλάσεις χάρη στο Ray Tracing. Και το καλύτερο, με σχεδόν διπλάσιο μέγεθος θαλάμου ατμών, έχεις μια ομαλή εμπειρία γραφικών. Το gaming σε άλλο επίπεδο.
So these campaigns essentially utilize voiceovers, music, images, sound effects to engage players without disrupting gameplay, enhancing the atmosphere of the game while delivering targeted messages, like we saw in this very nice example. And number 4 of our agenda, apart from the in-game advertising world, there is another world around the game inventory, rich in high attention, user engagement, user action, and audience impact. And these are the rewarded video campaigns, like the one here showcasing from Procter & Gamble for a feminine product. So, super. We're close to the end of this presentation, so let's have a quick look to the standard measurement metrics of gaming campaigns, like viewability for in-game display, video completion rate for video campaigns, and presenting here some benchmarks and an overview of the impressive high-score performance of our campaigns. What can make a campaign successful, actually? But of course, using context-related messages or target specific game categories. And don't forget, you can always mix and match gaming channels and formats for maximizing attention and avoiding ad fatigue. Greece was our very first market launching in-game experiences, but our extensive roster includes 11 more countries that we proudly support, ensuring global reach and localized expertise. Order your campaigns with us now and make your brands connect with their audience in a way that feels native to the game. That's all from me. Thank you so much for your time and attention. So I can stop sharing my screen right now. So, Yun, can you join? Can you join again to see a little all the questions here for our audience? Again, thank you so much for being with us for 41 minutes. We are very happy that this is so interesting for you. It's also for us. Yun, we have some questions here from our audiences.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Which ones should we go with? I think I'll go with Stras's one because I think there might be a few around DSPs and the type of deals versus manage.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of the type of targeting that is available on a self-serve or a managed service in terms of creative options and placements, there's no difference there. But where there is a difference is if you do choose to activate using a DSP, the targeting that we allow, the types of data that you can add on will be dependent on the DSP itself. However, in terms of, say, as an example, if you are telling me that you would like to target women 25-54 and you want to have certain sites that you would want to have or apps that you would want to have, that's something that we can make available via a PMP as an example. You can, however, look to also do layer on more targeting if you would like, depending on the types of deals that we set up for you. So I hope that helps clarify, because then Philip asked something about the types of deals, preferred, guaranteed, PMP. So we do prefer PMPs because I do think that just allows us to tailor as well as prioritize the types of premium inventory for you. But we can work across what has been listed here from preferred to guaranteed to private.
That is in terms of the DSP and how buyers can join through preferred deals. But there's always the managed service that whatever the request, you can come to us and ask for rich media formats or ask for in game, around the game, and more premium, all the premium, let's say, package, a creative package that we have.
Yeah, and
There's also,
then
I wouldn't like, I would like to not to surpass. It's about the sensitive categories. Let's say alcohol, betting, pharmacy. This is also a very nice question. Thank you, Georgia. So what about these products?
these products, it depends. In most cases, if we are looking at a more branding for, as an example, as a pharmacy product, it's okay, but you can't really have details around it. I think the best way, just so that we don't jump the gun on what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable, would just be to share the creative with across media, as well as budgets. A lot of the times, the level of budget does also have an impact in terms of how publishers think about opening up certain inventory for sensitive categories as well. So I would always rely on the two things: share the creative as well as share the budget available.
Sure, we can always do a pre-auditing of any creative if the client doesn't have the final key visuals. We can check, review, and come back to you with the respective feedback. We also have a pricing-wise question. Well, Sergius, we have CPM-based pricing models for all of the buying methods, for all of the offerings: in-game, banners, video, audio, and rewarded. So it's CPM based. You can come in touch with us and we will share more. Irene is here. So technical issues solved.
There's nothing like a technical conversation and presentation without technical issues.
Oh, go unmute yourself so we can hear you. Oh yeah, now.
After so many years with online and webinars, today was the day, but there's no problem because I'm so glad for your presentation, Yun, and for yours, your year. I believe we are setting the ground for new and very, very interesting proposals for our good friends, partners that are joining the webinar. And I don't want to interrupt the conversation because there are several questions. So Yun, and your year.
I just want to add one point around the pricing as well as minimum. So one of the things that's actually quite new to us is that we are able to entertain, depending on the actual creative as well as understanding of what the click-through could be as well. Some campaigns, we may be able to entertain CPC or even CPCV, but we do actually, that's relatively new for us. But it is actually very much creative dependent. And then there's one question here for minimums. Again, that is something to work with across media on. There is always a level of minimum scale that's actually needed so we can optimize and give you a successful campaign, but that's something that you can definitely navigate with across media.
Exactly.
Also, Yun, another question might be interesting, would be around the brand lift surveys, because we do know well that big brands love brand lift surveys. So what about the execution of such? Would be difficult for the market? Would be easy?
The first 9 days.
No, it's actually not difficult at all. You just have to, we just need to know in terms of the number of impressions you would like to allocate towards brand lift. It's typically 3 million to 4 million impressions based off a CPM. And we can run a brand lift study. We would recommend about 4 to 6 weeks of activity for a brand lift study. And if it's Roblox, that can be done as well. It's just that the two will be for anything outside of Roblox. We use Scent. For Roblox is actually a Roblox custom study, but it's not hard to integrate as well. And we highly recommend advertisers to come on board to help them understand a little bit more around their audience, creative impact, as well as incrementality that gaming can drive. Irini, you're muted.
Someone is playing with me today. Okay, so thank you so very much, Yoon and Georgie and everyone for attending. I believe we brought you some good news for
Thank
the
you.
exciting Q4 and for the promising 25. I hope we talk soon about this new era of in-game. Until then, enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, everyone. Chat soon. Thank you. Bye.